We'll leave this recorded program and take you live now to Bolling Air Force Base, just outside Washington. First Lady Michelle Obama speaking about military families. Live coverage on C-SPAN.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, take a seat and have a glass of wine. All right, because I'm going to sell you guys out. They were passing around a little glass, and I'm like, what's that? So please feel free. Don't wait till I leave when the desserts come out to get the wine. I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you, Holly, for your kind introduction and for your support of our Air Force families and for all the work that you've done to put together this luncheon, as well as the entire committee. I know that it's hard enough to pull off something like this, but then you invite the First Lady and all my stuff, and it becomes a little bit harder, but this is absolutely wonderful. I've had a great time, and I'm just thrilled to be here. So again, let's give Holly and the entire committee a big round of applause for all the work that they've done. And I'm going to be especially nice to Holly because her husband commands the Air Force District of Washington. So he not only keeps the skies of Washington safe, but he's responsible for when my husband comes back on 4th on Air Force One. So Holly, you and me, we got to get together and get this thing worked out. But it's really an honor to be here with all of you. I also want to thank Elizabeth Biddle for the invocation. As well as the beautiful rendition of the national anthem. I want to thank all of you at JFILE, the committee, for this, just wonderful invitation and for bringing us all together. As we saw earlier during the medley, which you all got really fired up about, and I like that. We see that Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, active, Guard, and Reserve, we all are one force and we're all one family, and you always feel it when you're in a room full of wonderful spouses. And it's also great to see so many familiar faces, people that I've worked with over the course of the year, Becky, Deborah, Mary, Sandy, and others, all the wives of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, women who do so much for our military families and who I'm very proud to call my friends. In fact, we just had a few of you guys over for dinner last week. We had the Joint Chiefs, the combatant commanders, and their spouses over for dinner a few weeks ago at the White House, and it was a wonderful evening, very inspiring because we shared the evening with several wounded warriors. So it was wonderful to have you at my home, and I'm happy that we're switching the tables today. Now, I know this is the Joint Armed Forces Officers' Wives Club, but today I want to start by thanking you not simply because of who you're married to, but because of what you do every day, because of the spirit of service that's defined your lives. You all are truly leaders in your own right, and I don't know if you hear that enough, but it's real. You are the vital link between your husbands and the troops they command, making sure their needs and those of their families are heard and met. You're often that mom away from home, the person that other military wives go to for advice and support. And it's always amazing because you do all of this for other families, even as your own families serve. For that alone, you all deserve this nation's unending gratitude. But you not only provide support to your husbands and to other families, many of you have also watched your own sons and daughters put on the uniform and go into harm's way. And you've experienced all the emotions that come with that, all the worries, all the anxieties, but also that incredible pride. So I want to particularly thank all of the Blue Star moms who are here today, and I'd like to have you all stand. Thank you. And I also want to salute another remarkable group of women who I know here today, the women who for nearly 40 years have made sure that no American is ever buried alone at Arlington National Cemetery. Please join me in thanking the Arlington ladies. Please stand, ladies. And finally, some of you not only married someone in uniform, but we sometimes don't remember that many of you also wore a uniform yourself. You volunteered, you served, you defended our freedoms. So please, would all the women who served in the armed forces please stand and be recognized. To all of you, thank you. Thank you for your service to this country. So the President and I, as you've heard, and our daughters, we've been in the White House for a year now. It's been a year. As a mom, I often say my priority this year has really been the girls, making sure that they make this transition smoothly, as smoothly as possible. I mean, you think about it, these little girls, they've had to get adjusted to a new city, a new house. It's a nice house, but it's still a new house. To a new school and new friends. And so when people ask me what I'm most proud of this year, I usually give them two responses. I usually say, first, as a mother, I am most proud that our two girls have made that adjustment and they built a new life here and are happy and healthy and, as I say, as normal as they could possibly be under these circumstances. I joke that I still recognize them. So that's a good thing. Then the other response is as First Lady. And I tell people that at the top of the list of priorities that I've had over this year, it's been the time that I've spent highlighting the service of our incredible military families. And that's what I want to talk about today with you. I want to talk about what you do for America and also what America needs to do for all of you. From day one, this has been a mission of mine, along with the Vice President's wife, Dr. Jill Biden, my dear, dear friend, and a Blue Star mom herself, who has been a tireless advocate in support of our extraordinary National Guard and Reserve members and their families. Jill and I have been working hard on this. One of the first things that we wanted to do was to first listen and learn. So with many of you, we had a series of roundtable discussions. Thank you all with our military spouses. We met with Deborah and Sandy and other wives of the Joint Chiefs to get their advice and guidance on how to develop our initiatives, and that was incredibly helpful. We also met with the senior enlisted advisors' wives to discuss what's working in the ranks and what also can be improved. These conversations gave Jill and I just really critical guidance and insight for what would be our subsequent visits to bases and military communities around the country. And as I think back on all the incredible experiences of this past year, and we have had many. I've met the Queen, the Pope. We've done a lot. I have to say that those visits to the military bases have been one of my greatest privileges as First Lady, truly. Through these interactions that we've had, I've gained an even greater level of respect and gratitude for our troops and their amazing families. It is a sight to see. I remember visiting the soldiers and their families at Fort Bragg, one of my first visits with Charlene Austin, and we were just talking about that. She hosted me for my first visits. And there I saw firsthand the toll that these wars have taken on these soldiers who have carried so much of the burden of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. I will never forget the families that the President and I met at Fort Hood. After suffering such a horrible tragedy, they showed us incredible strength, the strength that binds Army families together. I remember the sailors and their families at Norfolk, and what a thrill it was for me to share their excitement as we welcomed home the crew of the aircraft carrier, the USS Eisenhower, and the hospital ship Comfort. They were coming back from treating patients and delivering health care and humanitarian assistance across the Americas, including Haiti. And as we all know, only after a few short months at home, the Comfort is back in Haiti, along with many other branches of our military, delivering aid with their civilian counterparts, helping the Haitian people, and all the while showing the very best of America and making us all so proud. I remember visiting the airmen and women and their families at Eglin Air Force Base, where some of the pilots and crew had just returned from Iraq. It was their 6th deployment in as many years.